Imagine this. You wake up tomorrow and suddenly nobody is watching. No one is measuring your progress. No one is comparing your life. No invisible scoreboard tracking your success. No expectations, no pressure, no audience. Just you and your life. Now ask yourself something honestly. What would success mean to you then? Not what you've been told. Not what looks impressive. Not what earns approval. But what would actually feel like a life well lived? Most people struggle to answer this question. Because for years, sometimes decades, the definition of success has been handed to them, measured in numbers, status, progress, achievement. And without those external signals, something uncomfortable appears. Uncertainty. But hidden inside that uncertainty is something powerful. Freedom. Because the moment you realize that success is not a fixed, universal standard, you also realize that it can be redefined. In the previous videos, we explored why chasing success can create anxiety, how the brain becomes addicted to achievement, and how Stoic philosophy challenges the idea that external outcomes define your worth. Now we arrive at the final step. If success isn't what modern culture says it is, and it's not something your brain should be dependent on, then what is it? What is the one metric that actually leads to both peace and meaningful success? Let's dig deep. The problem with every external metric. Most definitions of success have one thing in common. They rely on external measurement. Income, recognition, followers, status, achievements. These metrics seem useful because they're visible, they're easy to compare, they give the illusion of clarity, but they all share a fundamental problem. They are unstable. External conditions change constantly. Markets fluctuate, opportunities shift, people's opinions evolve. What is valued today may be irrelevant tomorrow. If your sense of success depends on these variables, your sense of stability becomes fragile. Even when things are going well, there's a quiet tension. A need to maintain, to protect, to keep up. And when things don't go well, the impact feels personal. Because the metric you used to measure success was never truly yours. It was borrowed from the world around you. This is why so many people feel lost, even when they are objectively doing well. They followed the system correctly, but the system itself was incomplete. It measured outcomes but ignored experience. It tracked progress but ignored peace. It rewarded achievement but ignored meaning. So the question becomes, what kind of metric would solve this? What kind of success definition could remain stable even as life changes? The only metric that doesn't break. There is one form of measurement that does not depend on external conditions. One standard that remains stable regardless of outcomes. And it is deceptively simple. The quality of your inner state. Not what you have. Not what you achieve. But how you experience your life as you live it. Are you constantly anxious even when things are going well? Do you feel pressured, restless, unable to fully relax? Or do you experience clarity, presence, and a sense of grounded direction, even while pursuing difficult goals? This is the metric that ancient philosophers quietly pointed toward. Not as an abstract idea, but as a practical guide. Because your inner state reflects the relationship between your mind and your life. If that relationship is unstable, no external success can compensate for it. But if that relationship is stable, external success becomes something you can engage with freely, without becoming dependent on it. This doesn't mean abandoning ambition. It means shifting the priority. From chasing outcomes to cultivating a state of mind that allows you to pursue outcomes without losing yourself. How this changes the way you pursue success. When you adopt this metric, something subtle but powerful shifts. Success stops being something you chase in the future. It becomes something you practice in the present. Instead of asking, what do I need to achieve to feel successful? You begin asking, how do I need to think, act, and relate to this moment to live well? This changes your behavior. You still set goals. You still work hard. You still build, create, and improve your life. But the emotional weight changes. Failure becomes information, not identity. Delays become part of the process, not proof of inadequacy. Progress becomes something you experience, not just something you measure. You begin to notice something else as well. Your work improves. Not because you're forcing it, but because your mind is clearer. Less distracted by anxiety. Less consumed by comparison. More focused on the quality of what you're doing. In a strange way, redefining success internally often leads to better external outcomes. But those outcomes are no longer the foundation of your well-being. They become expressions of it. Peace and wealth are not opposites. There is a common belief that creates unnecessary conflict in people's lives. The idea that you must choose between inner peace and external success. That if you want to be calm, you must give up ambition. Or if you want to succeed, you must accept stress. But this is a false trade-off. The Stoic philosophers never argued against building wealth or contributing to society. They argued against dependence. They understood that wealth is not the problem. Attachment is. When your sense of worth depends on outcomes, success creates anxiety. But when your sense of stability comes from within, success becomes something entirely different. It becomes a tool, a way to express your values, to create impact, to expand your life. Without becoming something you rely on for identity. This is what makes both peace and wealth possible at the same time. Not because you eliminated ambition, but because you removed the psychological pressure that made ambition feel heavy. The internal foundation of true success. So we return to the question we started with. What is success? Not the version defined by comparison. Not the version driven by fear. Not the version that leaves you anxious, even when you're doing well. Success in its most stable form is this: the ability to live with a clear mind, a steady sense of self, and a meaningful direction, regardless of external outcomes. Everything else becomes secondary. Achievements may come. Wealth may grow. Recognition may appear. But none of these determine whether your life feels complete. That decision is made internally, moment by moment, in how you think, how you act, and how you relate to the life you are already living. And when that internal foundation is strong, success stops being something you chase. It becomes something you carry. If this perspective resonated with you, continue exploring the series. Because understanding success is only the beginning. Living it is where everything changes.